first. First little thing here should be, am I the a-hole? Comes from throw away pretty result. A nice throwaway account from them. That's nice. Am I the a-hole for refusing to wake up my husband when my parents visited? And kicking them out when they insisted? Now, I can say, in a kind of weird way, I've definitely seen this type of thing happen. Not the kicking out part, but I definitely have been in a situation where my family came to visit, and then I knew my parents were asleep or something, or if a family friend came to visit, my parents were asleep, and I was like, no, sorry, they're sleeping. I want you to go. Let them sleep. That's the thing. I would rather do that. So, as a whole, in the way that's going there, I would say not an a-hole, but I can't necessarily judge based on what's going on here. Before I read the context, of course, I haven't read this thing because I am a slow reader, and I'll be reading it as I read out to you guys. Feel free to start yourselves a little prediction in the chat on whether or not this will be an a-hole situation. I would say, of course, from my point of view, just on the title alone, likely not, but I am not the arbiter of truth. So, we're here doing some speakable therapy. Maybe we'll find something to talk about here that we can attribute and use in our daily lives. I'm going to start an outcome in the chat. A little prediction going on here. For this first one, overreacting. I don't know if my mods are in the chat to do this for me, but I'm trying to do it now. Do. We'll have a nice 30-second prediction period. Yep. Boom. I'm throwing it up there in the chat. Prediction started. Overreacting? Yes or no? Feel free to throw in your predictions. Feel free to use your channel points and get some more doing this stuff. Just in case you think this one's gonna be an overreacting or not. I'm gonna start reading it, and while that's going on, I probably should have been like a minute, just in case you guys have to like scramble to your computers and stuff to get the answers out there, but who cares? It might just be fine anyhow. Alright. Somebody's feeling frisky. Someone out here saying that's a yes. I'm gonna shoot a no. It's my thing. Oh, you guys haven't done that yet. Hold on. We're gonna redo it. I'm gonna put it for this time a minute. No. We'll go for 2 minutes. Keep it nice and easy for you guys. We're gonna do that for everyone that we're dealing with now. Are we overreacting? Are we not? Here we go. So now you have ample time to set up your bets. Start your engines, people. We're gonna get there, and we're gonna go. Am I the a-hole for refusing to wake up my husband? Let's find out. Sorry for a throwaway account. I have colleagues that follow my main, and I like to keep my personal life as private as I can. With that said, I will keep the details as low as possible as well. Husband and I have been married for 5 years now, and we're both 29 years old. Huh, close to me. For 5 years, this is nice. Anyway, the last 3 weeks, due to a complete screw-up in a department in the company my husband works for, it has been an all-hands-on-deck situation for my husband and his team to resolve the issues. My husband's been working 18 hours a day, and even some days not even coming home, working throughout the entire night and into the next day. I don't know much about the issues exactly, but what I do know is that if they do not resolve the issues, it will be a $50 million loss for the company. Dang. The issues are not the result of my husband or anyone in his team, but they're the ones that have to fix the issues. Classic America. I can see the exhaustion on my husband's face when he comes in at 2 or 3 in the morning when I'm awake and leaves at 7 again. I don't know how he's doing it, and just keeps going, but I try my best to keep as much as possible off his plate at home until he could get the issues resolved. Before this, he's been nothing but supportive and helpful around the house. When he comes home, he eats, showers, and goes straight to bed. I found him some nights literally sleeping at the table while he was busy eating, and when I went to go down to check on him because he wasn't in bed yet, I got woken up or found him passed out on the foot of the bed with the shower running and him still in his work clothes. That's crazy. That is actually extremely dangerous. But hey, listen. I feel like we've been there. We've all been that tired at some point. Uh, Hopefully, you don't have to be that tired again in your life, but like, Jesus Christ, that's crazy. Anyway, 2 nights back, he got home at around midnight, which is late, but it was too early from when he normally got back. And I was thinking something bad happened because he looked like a ghost, but through his exhaustion, he gave me this massive smile and said, "They did it, and everything's done." He told me the boss gave them each a couple of days off, and he only needs to be back in the office next week's Tuesday. Ate dinner, took a shower, and then got into bed. I got up the next morning around 9 and made breakfast. I thought about waking up my husband, but I didn't and let him sleep. Good choice. Around 12, my parents visited me. I normally work from home, and they do visit from time to time, seeing as I'm 6 months pregnant as well. That's something you should have included. Alright, fine, that's alright, cool, I mean, this could be like adding some stress to you as well as a pregnant person that you might have to account for based on what's going on here, but it seems like you got this situation figured out for now. Anyway, where was I? Here we are. I greeted them and we sat down and had coffee. Coffee. Around 30 minutes into their visit, they asked me where my husband was because they had seen his truck in the driveway. I told them he was sleeping. My mother gave me a look and said it's unacceptable for my husband to still be sleeping past 12 o'clock, especially with a pregnant wife, and I should wake him up. You know, personally, I've never really understood that, you know? The whole idea that you can't sleep in late. Like, there's a whole thing in biology and just general human history, you know? Where not everybody's supposed to sleep at the same time. Like, it's legitimately biologically advantageous for not everybody to sleep at the same time. Some night owls have to be there to keep people alive at nighttime and keep watch and all that stuff. And for people to be so mad that people sleep in, I think it has something to do with, of course, our usual capitalistic type of work style and hours that just recently came up in the recent century, I would say. The fact that we have that whole 9 to 5 idea now, I think really plays into that mindset, but still, I just don't understand, you know? People sleep, people do what they want to do, people are tired as hell, man. These jobs, they really be taking a lot out of you, and sometimes you just gotta recover. Even when I go visit people, like at my family or something to come back, I'm like 6 hours away from my family at this point, and so we usually take those trips like in the same day or stay for one day and come back up in the next one or something. Regardless, those things are tiring as well. So even after those, if I had something to do, I'd still try to recover as long as I can. You know, I go to sleep probably in the morning for coming back, and I wake up later, maybe past 12 or something. Or if I wake up a little bit earlier than that, I'm still tired, I'll try to relax again, go to sleep again. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If there's anything wrong with that to you guys, you feel free to let me know in the comments or in the chat or whatever you gotta do. But I think there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you gotta just recover after a long day, a long week. People go out to eat, people go out drinking and stuff. They find something to do for their weekend to recover that stamina. And then we all accept that part of life. But then when it comes to stuff like sleeping or just not working as hard as you can at every second and wearing your body down, for some reason that's just against the rules. And I don't understand that. I would say if you need to recover, it's more healthy and better for you as a person and your mental to take that time to recover yourself, because there's no way you can continue working in that environment when you yourself are run down. And I had to tell my wife the same things recently, and even her therapist back then told her the same thing before, I would assume. And it helped us out greatly. Now she's not as dying, but she's one of those people that has to always be doing some type of work and productivity to make herself her anxious thoughts about not doing work or being productive start to go away a little bit there. And I, on the other hand, would rather just sit here and do nothing. So so we are opposites for a reason on that subject. But it's not like we both don't agree on the fact that you need to relax, we need to relax. And so we help each other out in that way, and whatever else. That's going to come into play later. And in this situation, I would say she's doing a great job of making sure her man can relax and sleep, and making sure that he can recover himself. Even if she's got to be up, being pregnant, and doing things on her own, that's the type of compromise you got to bring up in types of relationships where you want to stay with somebody for a long time. You got to ease the burdens on each other, because those things add up over time. And resentment can build, of course, if you're not helping out your partner or giving them any ways to ease their life. Like, why would you be with somebody when it's just going to be harder than being alone, you know? So that's one of the reasons that you gotta think about each other and bring that type of compassion and caring for somebody else when you want to be in a relationship with them. Whether or not it's a long term one or not, I think it should be something present in your daily life as well. But, you know, everybody's got their styles, everybody's got their things. Let me finish this up for us and see what we can get into from this one. I told them no and to leave it, and then explained the full situations of what happened the last 3 weeks to them. They didn't budge and insisted I wake my husband up. Apparently, it's not right for him to sleep in with a pregnant wife. It went as far as my mother standing up and saying if I wouldn't do it, then she will go and wake him up. I stood up and blocked my mother from going up the stairs and told my parents if they find it so wrong for my husband to get a proper sleep after 3 weeks of barely any sleep, they should leave our house because I will not, and I refuse to let them wake him up as well. I told them I will let my husband sleep until he wakes up himself. I will not disturb him, and I will not allow anyone else to disturb him. That's a nice choice. Thank you very much for doing that. I'm sure he appreciates that. He was asleep. I would appreciate that greatly. They asked if I'm kicking them out, and I said yes. If they can't respect my request to leave my husband alone and let him sleep, they're no longer welcome. Their whole visit lasted around an hour. Around 3 p.m., I got bombarded with texts from other family members berating me for kicking my parents out of our house, even my sister and brother berating me for doing it, telling me I'm the a-hole for kicking them out, for just trying to help. Even after explaining the situation, some family members are still on my parents' side, saying I overreacted and kicked them out, because they were only looking out for my safety, seeing as I'm pregnant. Okay. Hot take? Maybe hot take, probably not hot take, but to be fair, take nonetheless. That could go either way, I would say. Most of the pregnant women that I know nowadays, some family members of course, and others that I know that are friends, they tend to have their own kind of independent streaks going on there when they're pregnant. Like, they want to be able to do and still take care of things for themselves. Not only just taking care of themselves in general, but taking care of things in their house, taking care of their partners, all those things. They want to have their agency still, regardless of being pregnant. The idea that because she's pregnant, she should have somebody looking after her at all times, and it's not even necessarily close to a good time where the baby could be like a neighbor or anything like that. She's 6 months pregnant. It could happen, but it's very low chance. And if it does happen, I'm pretty darn sure she would have like walked over there and woken him up if she went to labor or something. And it's not even something to really consider in this situation, I would say. So, extrapolating that to everybody else, of course, I find that a lot of my family members and my friends would rather be independent in these situations and not have to rely on somebody every second of their day. So for her to just get up and go around, it's like noon right now. There's plenty more in the day that she can come back and wake him up and still do things with him as well. But she's up here talking to her parents who are now currently here. She woke up at 9. It's been 3 hours. He's asleep. Let the man sleep. She's letting him sleep. And I don't understand where the parents are coming from necessarily in saying that he needs to get up right now and it's not okay. Especially since they're sitting there with her and can give her any assistance if she needs any. And they decide to come visit of their own volition, right? So why don't they do some helping and do some anything else and take care of her, making sure she's fine, instead of like throwing it onto him, even after she explained the last 3 weeks and the extreme work and stress he's been under. That to me seems quite unfair for them to treat him like this. Now, my verdict for now, and I don't know what your predictions were in the chat or anything else like that, because I haven't gone back to look at that, but my verdict for right now, not overreacting. It's very important to her to let him sleep, and it's very important for him to be able to sleep to then take care of her again after he wakes up. And she said she'll let him wake up when he wakes up, and he'll take care of things afterwards. He's been nothing but supportive and helpful outside his last 3 weeks where he's been barely home and not sleeping at all. And if anyone's been in that situation or knows of those situations, even though you want to take care of your partner or take care of things at home, you just can't do it. I've even had like stories from my other family members who had pregnant wives that they come home from a long shift because you work harder usually when your partner's pregnant. You want to get a lot more work done so you can have more money and save up that little nest egg type situation for your future children. So they're usually working longer hours and come back. They're much more tired. Might walk past something that their wife had there for them to do and just go straight to sleep because it's been that exhausting. Like this type of stuff, whether or not it's a hot take, I think that shouldn't be normalized as a healthy relationship experience and choice to be making. That you put yourself in situations where you're extremely tired and exhausted just so you can look out for a little bit of the money that will probably be gone anyway, to be fair. In one of the random events that happens in your life that you can't plan for after you have a kid. I would say take your usual hours, do your things that way. I mean, maybe you can always get yourself a little raise in that aspect or something, but work as you would. You don't need to kill yourself just yet. And if you're not there to take care of your kid in the future, then it wouldn't have really mattered how much you did. Nothing can replace the health and experience and existence of your parents, especially for a young child, especially when they grow up and can actually recognize in the world that they don't have somebody there for them. And you don't want to get to that point, so why would you, All the small things you do in life add up, and that's one of the things I think you have to consider and talk to your partner about regardless, so you know what your stances are on that. Of course, everyone's different. If you do talk to your partner and they don't mind you doing this type of stuff or even appreciate you doing this type of stuff, go ahead, work yourself to as many bones or as little bones as you can, But in my situation, I would say for anybody that I'm with, I want them to be healthy first and foremost. They can't take care of me, I can't take care of them, and they can't take care of any children we're gonna have if they are no longer able to function, So that's one of the things I keep in mind every time I talk to my friends and my family and anybody that I care for, which I always let you know if I care for you as well. I have no problem saying it all the time. Make sure you take care of yourself. That's what I say first and foremost. I try to make sure everybody eats and is drinking and all that good stuff, even if I'm not doing it myself necessarily, because I want to make sure that they are fine, that they're alive and able to help me out. They can rag on me for not doing things as well, but they can't do that if they're not functioning either. So I want to make sure that we're all looking forward to taking care of each other and making sure we do that. And that's one of the reasons I like you guys as this people community, because we take care of each other in here. And that's what we want to continue to foster. So, a verdict? Not overreacting to she put a little edit in here, so let's see what the people wanted her to tell them. Edit. Unfortunately, I have a family that is somewhat close and loves to talk. Secrets don't stay secret in this family for long, especially with my aunts and cousins that can't keep anything to themselves. As soon as they know something, everyone else has to know it as well. Bit of extra information I see kept getting asked. This is my first child. She will also be the first grandchild and the first child born in the family in the last 20 years. That's fair. I can see why they would be stressed about that, making sure that this kid's alright, because it's going to be the first one coming up with a new generation. It's always something. Though it's not necessarily their place to be dictating how you want to run your households and how you want to relate with your significant other, though I can see that they're probably just worried about the future. Doesn't change my outcome though. Not overreacting. Still my verdict. I'm gonna say it's a good time to throw in our first ever ad. Let's see. Let's try to get ourselves some mid-roll ads so anybody else coming inside here can now be free of ads for at least half an hour. So I'll try to hit it with a nice minute and a half ad, maybe 2. I don't know which one is gonna get us the 30-minute mark. I think it's a minute and a half ad. So if you guys could stick around, enjoy that ad, watch that ad. It might be something funny, I don't know. But if you want to watch the ad, it would very, very well support the channel. And I would very well appreciate it. So let's see what we can do here. Let's try this out again for a moment here. I'm going to try and add all these things to my stream list here. And I can also snooze the ads, so if we're all doing something crazy and we're having a good time engaging, talking about the chat, then I can snooze the ads for at least 5 minutes and just ignore them altogether. But, Twitch wants me to keep doing something, at least throw these ads in here every now and then because, I'm an affiliate. They want to get their monetizations. And I want to get that AdSense. So I'll do it eventually. For now, though, I would say we'll run one of these darn ads. I'm gonna see if I can add anything else as well. Let's see. Ooh, a poll. Yeah, I'm gonna add the polls. Channel points roid queue. Sure. I'll add that. Star prediction. Gotta add that as well. Yeah. We're getting all these things in here we can do. And that's about it for now. Let's hit it. Let's try our first ever mid-roll ad. Okay, so I'm gonna set up a 2-minute ad here, and we'll see how that goes. If you can just, hang in for a little bit here, enjoy those 2 minutes, and come back in, and I'll be waiting with the newest addition to our little thing here. I don't know if the subs are gonna be free of this as well, but if they're not, we're gonna find out. Alright, let's see what happens. I'll see you guys here in 2 minutes. Pre-roll ads are disabled for 42 minutes. Yay! We did something. We did a thing. We got a little change. So we're looking out for anybody else that's going to come in and join our little Speeple community. For 42 minutes, they will be fine. Ad break ends in a minute and a half. So for those of you, I assume, that are subs, you aren't seeing that current ad break. And if you are, let me know, because I didn't know it goes to you guys as well. Still, I'd say it's a good ad break. We saved 40 minutes of everybody else's time. And that'll probably be well enough into where we need to go to. So, our next one, we're going to close that one out. This will be... It's not a problem. They can raise their kids. Not that. Hey, wait. Did I not get all these in here? I thought I got all these in here. Let me close the stream manager and open it back up. Maybe I can now see my ads in here with that new stream manager stuff going on. Okay. I think the whole taking away the ad situation already happened for those pre-roll ad people that are coming in and visiting and watching the stream. I think you guys are probably already solidly good to go. Like, you don't have any pre-roll ads hitting you right now. I think it already hit. If they are, let me know. If you already got a pre-roll ad coming back in here to watch me, let me know. I gotta figure out how this thing works so I can make sure everybody else knows as well. And looking out for you guys. So there should be like 40 minutes where you guys are free to go. Or free to come and go without these ads. So let's see. I think the ad will be ending in like 10 seconds. So I'm gonna stay here and be ready for the next one. This is gonna be an interesting one. Let's do this one. And welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, you beautiful people. We're here with our new MLA. So we're gonna just do this one real quick. I'm gonna run through it, and this might take a little bit longer because this is an interesting topic. I want to start a prediction on that, but at the same time, I'm not gonna bother with that because I don't know what we're even gonna say for this one. So let's just read through it as we should. And for now, luckily, we saved our new friends and new people joining this Speeple community 42 minutes of pre-roll ads. So we'll be fine in that regard. Let's see how much we're actually going for. Pre-roll off for 40 more minutes. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. Thank you guys for taking care of everybody else in the community in that same way. The Speedgen is strong. Alright. I want to read this one, because this is interesting. This one comes away from Throwaway 176262. My neighbor asked my wife to cheat on me. Am I the a-hole for telling her husband? So it sounds like we have the husband talking about the wife's friend. Okay, so did the girl, the wife of the other people, asked his wife to cheat on him, and so he told the husband. Okay, so the boys are getting together and figuring out what's going on here. I think that's a good thing to do. The boys should be figuring out what's going on here. Anyway. I'm using the throwaway for obvious reasons. My neighbor and her husband moved next to us, and we used to get along like friendly neighbor stuff, and sharing food with each other and talking to each other. She became my wife's friend about a month ago, and my wife started ignoring her, and she wouldn't even speak to her. And when I asked my wife why her friend isn't coming over anymore, my wife said that she wants to stay away from her. I wanted to know what happened, so I checked my wife's phone and her text with our neighbor, and I found out that she said to my wife that she's hot and she fell in love with her, and they should get together and they're husbands. Us don't need to know. That's not what I expected this to go toward. That's alright. My wife said she's not interested and blocked her, but I got angry after reading all that, and if she wasn't a woman, I would have confronted her, but I decided to tell her husband everything and sent screenshots to him. But my wife found out, and she's upset because I didn't need to do what I did and inform her husband, because now he's divorcing her, and she's screwed for life when she handled it perfectly, and I shouldn't have interfered. Am I the a-hole? That's an interesting situation to find yourself in at any point. Okay, alright. Okay. Jesus. Okay, hold on. I gotta think about this one. This is a wild situation, and I would love some nice, mod activity in here to talk about it. I'm gonna check I haven't actually gone into the Discord in a while to check what's going on there. I really should have opened up and went to the stream chat for that, so we could have any of the sub members put in their input, which would always be nice. That was something I was going to open up for Speakable Therapy anyway. Just the mods would be able to, not mods, the mods and the subscription people would be able to just give their input over Discord and communicate vocally, where everybody has to sit there and type. So it'll be another one of the benefits you get for being one of our subscribers. Anyway, back to what I was doing. This is wild. This is absolutely crazy. I cannot. Okay, where to start? Right, so this wife has a lot to discuss with her family, if anything else, her husband, and a lot to take care of in her own mental. She's got some things she needs to figure out for sure. And with the way that she just casually came up and asked about this and asked of our OP's wife, I get the feeling this is not the first time she's done this, and it probably wouldn't be the last either. So I'm a little bit more wary about this than anything else. The part that gets me though about all this for real is the fact that his wife was so mad and said that she's screwed for life when she handled it perfectly. I don't know how this would screw her for life necessarily, unless of course they're divorcing and still staying there next to them and will be telling other people about why they divorced and stuff like that, which could happen in a smaller neighborhood, but I think most people would want to keep those types of things private, especially the divorce and the proceedings, unless you're very angry about it and maybe the husband's super pissed about the fact that she's been doing this or is trying to do this right now, and to divorce over this one instance probably would be a bit of a overreaction on his part. So it's likely this has been going on for some time, with her either expressing these thoughts or doing something like this before, and now it's just too much for him. Though that is entirely up for the people. For example, chat, if you were in the situation, would it only take the one time for you to say, no, that's it, I'm cutting you off and I'm moving on without you? You know, just the one situation. She didn't even get to do anything. She offered a thing. I mean, would you just be more mad that she didn't include you in that potential sleeping with the other person problem, you know? Or would you want to ask her about these types of things? Hey, do you want to go sleeping with people of the same sex? And is this something we want to discuss in our relationship? And maybe something we can allow? Maybe something we can join in on? There are plenty of relationships that do these types of things, you know? And more people, when you get around your 30s or 35s, I mean, you know, that nice half-life crisis type things, then you will... Midlife, that's good. Midlife crisis, that's what it was. Thank you. Okay, when you get to these situations, it seems like a lot more people are more open to those types of situations, those types of arrangements and alternative relationships that are going on, at least in the corners of the internet that I find myself in. And I can't say that for everybody, and I can't say that for everybody that I know either. Most people seem like they are strictly monogamous, but People don't want to talk about their things anyway, so unless you're that close to somebody, you probably wouldn't find out. And it's alright. It's alright. Anyway, he sent the screenshots to the husband. Just to make sure that there's no doubt about what just happened there. The fact that his wife didn't want to tell him about it in the first place, OP I'm talking about, the poster, his wife didn't want to tell him about it in general as well. So, like, she just wanted to go over it. She's just over the whole thing. Didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to see it ever again, didn't want to discuss it with anybody else ever again. I wonder if that's something that needs to be brought up here as well. The fact that he wanted to know, and that's something that he would have definitely had an opinion on and cared about in that moment. He cared about enough to ask her about the relationship between them, and she just said, nah, I'm not gonna tell you. And he then breached her trust probably by going into her phone and finding out what happened on his own. And that is not something that I would condone for anybody, of course. But I would say, hot take, there needed to be some discussion about how that went down, see? You can't just get away with that, You just bow right in the kitchen, he went too far, he went shot her phone, but that's not gonna stop him from figuring out what's going on, see? He's got to have some people. He's got to have some people he's got to talk to. It's important that he gets that done, regardless. Communication in any type of relationship, especially one where you've been married so long and stuff. They didn't say how long they've been married, but still. They've been friends for months, or a month or so, and then just drop them all together. I'd be confused too, be worried about what happened to that friend of yours, especially if you're that close and you're literal neighbors. Like, what happened? I want to have some type of relationship with my neighbors, make sure that everything's fine, at least to the most part, make sure everything's fine. Can't always be fine, but this is a situation where it definitely wouldn't be fine. I'd want to know. I think you'd tell me. I'd hope you'd tell me if I was your partner. Chad, I assume you'd be the same way, Would you be the same way? Because I definitely would be like that, I'd want to know. I wouldn't go through her phone, because if she doesn't want to go that far to show me her personal interactions, she could always tell me a little synopsis of what happened, I would say. Doesn't have to be from the phone's perspective, those text messages, like word for word, bar for bar, flow for flow. She could just tell me what happened. She hit on me. I wasn't into it. I cut her off. I blocked her. It's over. I don't want to talk to her anymore. Don't want to see her. We're not friends anymore. That's a pretty simple way to go about it, I would say. That's something you can tell somebody anyway, right? I would accept that as the husband and be like, okay, that's crazy. Was the husband involved? No. Interesting. Why did you not tell me about it? Because now I'm questioning some things as well. She didn't tell me. She handled it on her own. It's over. Sometimes you gotta do that. But even in situations like in my life, in my relationship with my wife, if she gets hit on by some other person at like her job or something, it's not usually gonna happen that way. Because anyway, it's another story for another time. If she gets hit on by anybody else, like a customer or something, then that's something she would tell me, and she would, of course, she would mostly turn them down. I mean, she would turn them down. There's no other question about that. But she would at least tell me about that happening, because that's something crazy to talk about in your day. You'd be like, I can't believe that just happened. In a situation like this, where you get that type of text from somebody else that's been your friend for like a whole month, I'm pretty sure that's something you could just tell your partner about. Be like, I can't believe this just happened. You're not gonna believe this thing just happened. I wouldn't just like completely shut down and be like, nah, it's over. Not talking about it. Blocked her, moved on. You can still block her and move on, but I'd at least tell my partner about it. I'd be like, this is crazy. Don't talk to them anymore. Don't talk to her anymore. Leave her out of this. I don't want to see her. Like, if that's your opinion on the neighbor now, this neighborly wife, then I think you would at least tell your husband, like, we don't talk to Linda anymore. We're not going to talk to Linda anymore. Those memes were like, the dude in the cars saying hi to the family, and then she's like, we don't talk to her anymore. And he's like, yeah, F you, and moves on. That's definitely what it's got to be like in the situation. That's the very least you can do for your partner, I would say. So, not the a-hole for sending it, I don't think. That's something that you definitely need to know. But I think there need to be more discussion with the wife beforehand. It's definitely something that probably should have been done, but like, it's not a dick move to do. It's looking out for the other guy in some way. I can see that. But if he was doing it with the intention of breaking up the marriage, then you be the a-hole, in my opinion at least. But it's purely good intentions not being an a-hole, and the situation is something that any person with a committed relationship would want to know about, or they should want to know about, unless they've given pardon my burps, Jesus. I had some fake chicken nuggets and some fries and soda, and so now it's coming back up, I guess, or at least creating some space and air in my stomach. That's fine. Anyway, I'd want to know. I think any person would say they want to know in those situations, and so I think it's fine that that happened. Not the a-hole. Definitely need to talk to your wife a bit more about it, but definitely something that he would need to know, and for you to share it, it's okay. If you knew him and you guys were friends, it's okay. If you didn't know him, you guys weren't friends at all, and you just sent that over to him, a little weird, little off guard catching, I would say, if I was him, but I'd be happy that I knew at some point, especially if this divorce was something that will end up benefiting both of them, or at least him and his mental and his family, and she can move on and find people that she wanted to be with, that she doesn't have to like hide this part of herself with, etc. If that's something she's been doing, fine. Someone helped you get there, right? Just like this person was saying, who's to say that the neighbor wife isn't already cheating with somebody else, and the husband absolutely deserved to know? I would say so as well. Yeah. Neighborhood rule number 1: do not cheat with, have sex with, swing, or swap with other neighbors. When it goes wrong, which it will, you now have to continue to live next to them. And your wife should have told you. Yeah. Not following how OP is the bad guy for telling the neighbor wife that she wanted to cheat on him, and his wife clearly wasn't going to do it. Okay. So I can understand. I mean, chat, what reasons would you have for not telling if you were the wife, I would say? Because to me, I can see where she might be coming from with that a little bit, I'd say, where she doesn't want to cause that type of friction that could end the marriage, and maybe thinks it would be like a one-off thing, or if people keep shutting her down, maybe she would have stopped trying that. I think it's a far-fetched situation to imagine, and like that person hinted up here, ESH, which means everybody here sucks, or everybody sucks here. Yeah, they're both kind of bad here in the situation for what they did, but I think you need to know in some way. So, my verdict, not the a-hole. Could be wrong. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, in the chat, etc., because I'm probably going to throw this on via tuber anyway. I'll see you guys. Next one. I'm ready. This is going to be our final one before we head on to some cozy gaming, and I will throw some maybe like another minute ad real quick, just so we can get some more time for you guys without pre-roll ads. Right now we're down to like 25 minutes without pre-roll ads here, and I want to keep looking out for you guys in that same way. So let's throw in another. Are we able to? It doesn't look like we're able to. Are we able to do that? Did I just do it? I don't think I did. What's happening here? Why am I not allowed to? Alright, that's fine by me, I guess. I guess I'm not able to do it until after this is over. So, that means we have even better chances to move on to the last one and get that done before we can even worry about some more commercials going on. You know, one of these days I'm going to be like sponsored. Maybe I can even run those pre-roll ads, or those mid-roll ads of myself, giving you guys that sponsorship. Be like, gamer subs or something. Speech and flavor. Maybe. Hey, let's get ourselves there. We're almost at that 40 follower goal, and then we can be at that 50 follower goal, and I can show you guys how to make some nice stromboli / pizza with nothing but veggies, and it's delicious. All right, with my father-in-law's recipe. Moving on, the final one we're gonna look at here will be. I don't want to do with those young ones necessarily. Let's go with this one for now. Comes to us from Kovaruns. And this one is, am I the a-hole for saying it's not my problem if my ex and her husband can't afford their kids? Well, let's find out what this is about. Of course, feel free to throw in your predictions in the chats, and all those mods throw up those predictions and all those channel points so you can continue adding them to becoming Speedgen goal, so we can eventually get some more emotes and stuff for the group, if you guys get there, of course. There is a time limit. Anyway, I, 30, was married to Marine. I'm gonna say Marin just for American sake, I guess. Was married to Marin, 30 AF, and we have a son together who's now 8. When Marin was pregnant, I found out she was cheating on me with James, 33. James had a girlfriend who was pregnant at the same time. When my son was born, we needed a DNA test to find out if I was his father or James was. As Marin's husband, I was legal father, and it made it easier when the DNA results showed he was actually mine. Because she fought to name James his father, things were toxic. James was there for everything in the lady pregnancy and the birth, and Marin told me nothing. Her parents were the ones who gave me info on when my son was born so I could file with the courts for a DNA test and custody, and our son's birth was also when our divorce could proceed. Okay, so a lot of backstory there that we need to, understand. Okay, so first off, this is one paragraph. Let's see how long we go. Wow. Okay, alright. That's beautiful. Okay, so synopsis from... Oh my goodness, I think I have the mouse thing currently stuck. Okay, we're back. We are so back, chat. We're so back. So it looks like they were already in divorce proceedings at this point, and he found out that she was cheating on him during the time that this child was going to be born, with James. And she's been fighting to say that James was the father, but it seems like she didn't tell him at all during this whole time. She just was telling her parents, I think James is the father, and they said nothing until after the baby was born. Was hey, well listen, it might not be yours. And so leads to the DNA test, comes out his, divorce can proceed, custody, whatever else. Alright, let's continue. That's wild. First off, she's already looking real sus in the situation. I'm about to say he's not about to be an a-hole because of what's going on, but I can't judge just yet. Let's move on. Back to the reading. James's ex ended up giving him custody of their daughter, and so they had her full-time, and my son 50% of the time. And a year and a half later, so she got with James afterwards, after their divorce continued, and they broke up. She went with James, and now they're together outside of this. And so James has his own kid, and now they have this new child that they had made together. Marin and OP have now had themselves another kid, and James has been seeing this one half the time, share custody and whatnot, because he's probably just over at Marin's house and James is there. Anyway, moving on. I'm gonna reread it just for continuity's sake. James's ex ended up giving him custody of their daughter, and so they had her full-time and my son 50% of the time, and a year and a half later, they had a daughter together. At this point, they have James's daughter and 4 children together. Jesus Christ. And I won custody of my son 3.5 years ago because in order to force more money out of me, they wouldn't feed him enough, and they let him wear dirty old diapers. Jesus Christ. And I only paid child support because I earned more than Marin. But we had equal parenting time back then. So now Marin sees our son every other weekend. Now family law sucks, my guy. As a man who's been through law school now, and I took classes, I talked to people. Family law sucks, my guy. So very sorry. I'm so very sorry. That is unbelievably normal in this country right now. It just matters who can give them more money most of the time in those courts, and so you had to pay more because they weren't taking care of your child, and you were taking care of him when you had him. That sucks. But on the bright side, it seems like the courts did recognize the fact that he was taking care of the kid and she was not, then gave him more time, more custody, and it sounds like CPS probably hasn't come back to take care of the kid who's wearing dirty old clothes and not being fed. So, you're doing a great job. Take care of your kid, dude. Glad you did that. I appreciate you. You are what we need to strive for in this country. And maybe if more things like that keep happening, Those people are going to be going to the court and being examples of what not to do, you know? Because that's one of the reasons why the court keeps doing that type of stuff, because they have so many examples of people who just don't pay for the kids, don't help them out, let them run and be wearing dirty clothes and not feeding and refuse to help because they don't have the kid during that time. But you are showing you care. Anyway, moving on. My son's in therapy to help him with all the mess he's witnessed and been a part of in some way in his young life. Good choice. Marin was also ordered to pay a small amount of child support, but she only paid a few times. Bad choice on Marin's part. She always uses the excuse that she can't afford it, and that might be true. I never push it because I can take care of my son without her. This is a real good dad, I'm not gonna lie. I have like a brother, adopted brother type guy who's found some similar situations too, and I agree. If you can take care of the kid more and don't have to worry about the crazy mother doing things that obviously would be very bad for his health, good on you for taking care of that kid, dude. That is very admirable. Thank you for being able to do that for us. And I'm really sorry that we have to do that in this country because family law still sucks, dude. Anyway. For the last 2-ish years, Marin's looked to me to buy extra school supplies and share them among the two school-aged kids. So her kids, not yours at all. Okay. Marin was also... Oh, sorry. I read up again. So her stepdaughter and first daughter with James. I have always ignored those requests and sent my son the supplies and donated a few to his class as requested. I've never bought a single thing for the other children in my ex's household. 2 weeks ago, my son had a small surgery and Marin showed up. Marin brought up the school supplies issue and asked me to please be decent about this and get some supplies for her girls because they couldn't afford them. She told me they struggle to support the kids they have as it is, and their other kids suffer. I tried to move away. Sorry, that pisses me off a little bit. I'm gonna have to rant about that a little bit after I'm done with this paragraph. She told me they struggle to support the kids they have as it is, and the other kids suffer. I tried to move away from her, but she followed me to another table. So I told her I don't care if they can't afford their other kids. I told her that her other children are not my responsibility, and she needs to figure something else out. I told her she already denied our kid food and to try and get more money out of me, and she lost most of her time with him as a result. And my priority was my kid, not the kids she keeps having. I told her I would not discuss it with her again, and I haven't, but she sent many messages through the co-parenting app the courts have ordered us to use, where she calls me an a-hole and not a good dad to our kid. Okay, well, it's rant time, I guess. Rant time, I guess. Let's just talk about that last paragraph right here, right? And the paragraph before it. Right, so the sheer audacity and potential caucasity. No, okay. But the sheer audacity of this woman. I cannot believe this. Listen. If he had a lawyer and it happened to be me, boy, I hope he's recording this in some manner, because I would use the heck out of this dude. That's like, I would argue for 100% custody for his child with him now, because she's trying to use him for things that he's not supposed to be used for. Giving more money for children that are not his is not his legal responsibility in any shape or form. The courts ordered them to use that money for her kid that they have together, not for her household, for that kid and running it in that household. If they couldn't have those kids and afford to have those kids, they shouldn't have had those kids. It sounds horrible to say like that, but I guess hot take that in that situation. Don't have the kids if you can't afford to take care of them, because now you're making them suffer and they do not deserve that. That is never okay. Never okay. Do not let the kids suffer because you forgot how condoms work. Anyway, she's struggling to keep her care of her kids as is, and he's not struggling to provide for his kid, so he continues to do so, but she wants him to extend over that, help her kids out that she decided to have separately. 4 children together. He's only got 1 kid in there. The math's not mathing. He does not need to continue doing that. I would say so, at least. I would say so, for sure. I may be wrong in chat. If you think I'm wrong on that, let me know. Comments, you think I'm wrong on that? Let me know. If you agree, also let me know. I appreciate that. But like, this pisses me off for certain. True. Also, hi. I'm glad you're here, Andrea. I was just talking about before, randomly dropping in a raid on you if you perhaps are streaming at any point. Because clearly, you got some people here that could probably enjoy you as well. And if you were here to rant on something like this, it'd be wonderful. Yes, accessible reproductive care would resolve the issue, but condoms do rely on male compliance. And it seems like her ex here, James, we're gonna say James does not give a flying fadoodle about no condoms, my dude. 4 children together. Now, they had at least one other after they got together after the divorce. So, that was a conscious choice at the very least, that she went off and had more kids with James in that situation, right? And so now, it's on her. She had the kids, she's gotta raise them. This has nothing to do with him. OP's out here just living his life, taking care of his kid. And the courts are agreeing, you know? That's the best part of it all. That's the good news. The courts are agreeing. And they said, you use a lot more time with your kid because of your crap right now. So they gave more to OP. And now she's mad that he's not paying for her kids that she has outside of his marriage or outside of a relationship with him at all. Like, what is he supposed to be doing here? I don't think he's supposed to be paying. I don't think he is ever supposed to be paying. Not even legally. No, that's not his responsibility. Don't do that. Do not let her take you into there. And clearly this guy is smart enough to know that's not something he's got to do. And so he's been fighting back on that. Reminds you of the Happy Meal thing? What does that mean? You got to tell me more about that. I'm going to keep talking though before you're doing that. I didn't finish this yet actually, so there's still this final paragraph. Let's read that. So I have a separate question though, because of that ending of this paragraph here where it says that the courts order them to use a different co-parenting app, and then she's talking about him in that chat. I didn't know, like, I haven't actually worked in a family law court or anything, but this wasn't included in the family law course, or she was very well known in the family law group, and she didn't say that either. Neither did the judge that I know from family law say anything about a co-parenting app. I don't know if that's like based on the state they're living in, because I haven't heard of something like that before. Chad, have you heard of any types of co-parenting apps that the courts would require you to use? Because I haven't heard of that. And back home, where I am from, and my brothers haven't heard of that either. At least the ones that had to deal with that type of stuff. They don't have an app. They just had to go to meet for the court dates and the hearings and hope the other person showed up. I'm unsure if that's a universal thing, and I don't think it is. But how do you think that would work? A co-parenting app? Are you just like logging the hours that the child is with you as opposed to the other parent to make sure that's fine? Are you logging the money? Is that where you go to pay your child support money? I would think maybe, but like, it sounds like a lot to do to, one, develop an app for that on its own, and two, to keep up with for the courts, because we don't usually have many people involved in these cases and in these court proceedings. So who's keeping track of these apps and their information to make sure things are going the way that you want them to do? That's my question. And Chad, if anybody knows about that, feel free to let me know. Oh, sorry, missed your message. There was a woman who had one kid with one man, and he would bring his son Happy Meals on the way home, and she said he should bring all the kids Happy Meals because the others felt left out when they came back with one, and the other kids didn't have one. Yeah, they should eat before they come home. And co-parenting apps are not universal, but it's for the court-sanctioned communication and scheduled visits, etc., so it can all be pulled up by the court at hearings. Okay, that's helpful. So that sounds more advanced than the places that I've been. So I'm glad that's a thing, actually. That gives me a lot more hope for family law in the future. The fact that that's a thing. Co-parenting apps, not necessarily universal. If they could be universal, that'd be great, because there's a lot of crap that happens between the co-parents that needs to be logged in some manner, especially for the health and well-being of the children, I would say. So I don't know if this is something that she can really argue in here, because he's probably got the other evidence of him paying for his kid and the time he's spending there, and she's got to say and explain that she also has like 4 other kids that she's trying to get him to pay for, to argue why he's a bad dad for his current kid that they're sanctioned for. So, I mean, that's on her to argue. I don't think it's really gonna work out for her. So, good on you, man. Stay strong. She crazy. Don't let her do that to you, brother. Don't let her do that to you, brother. Not at all. Anyway, quick check on the pre-roll ad situation. We got 8 minutes left of pre-roll ads being off. So after that, I'm probably gonna run us a nice little minute and a half ad just so we can keep pre-roll ads off again for a little bit longer. And I appreciate if you guys stick around and watch that as well when that happens. But we'll be changing over to the game during that time. Let's get back to reading the final paragraph here. Oh, he's got a lawyer. Good for you, man. Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, my lawyer knows. He tells me to keep ignoring her. And for those who might wonder, this will not remove her visitation with him. Dang it, that's what I was hoping would happen. Ugh. Family court sucks again. It was difficult enough to get primary custody after her denying our son enough food to try and make me pay more. Unless my son is older and doesn't want to see her, or CPS removes other kids, nothing will change, and the revisitation will stay as it is. Knowing all this, am I the a-hole? No. That's it. End of discussion? No. Just no. We've been talking about this for a while. I am lepisty. I am not happy. Not happy at all of this. She's a bad spearson. She's a bad person. And this is not Spee at all. She is chalking like crazy, brother. She chalking, and you gotta tell the court she chalking. Make sure she knows she's chalking. She is not one of these people, and she would not be welcome into Speegin. Not at all. Now, if we were together as Speegin, I would say, harass this woman, but I would... No, I'm kidding. Don't kill me, Twitch. Don't do it. I'm relying on this. We're good. We're good. She's horrible in the situation. Though I'm sure there can be situations where you could find some fault in what you do generally, but from a legal standpoint, and as far as I know, and this of course is not legal advice for anybody listening, do not take my word and run with it to everybody else. He's completely fine. He didn't do anything crazy here. She is making a claim now that he's a bad parent that she now has to also back up. And from what we know of what he says, what he does for his kid, I doubt the evidence will corroborate that. And that's on her to solve. Not your problem anymore. Not an a-hole. Continue taking care of your kid because that's your only responsibility legally. F that dude. Like that lady, F that lady. I hope, hoop. Want to go for state resources? I can see that. Yeah, she should go for state resources if she can. But clearly, she doesn't care enough about that. She decided instead she wants to try and starve a child so that she can blackmail the father into giving her more money. And that, to me, that if I was a lawyer at that point, I'm fighting for visitation laws completely. Just completely. Because that's literally an illegal move. She made an illegal move to try and get him, extort that money out of him. Yes, why take what I'm allowed when I can extort? That's always a choice you can make, and it's always the wrong choice. Do not do that. Do not be like this lady. Do not do that. That doesn't even have to be like legal advice, just general life advice. Do not extort your partner for money by starving your children. Do not do that. I don't know who I have to tell that, but don't do that. No, just don't. Anyway, not the a-hole. My final verdict on that one. Please continue providing for your child no matter what she's doing. Please. Someone please call CPS on this lady. Please. And make sure that the courts know what's happening here, because he's coming to Reddit about it, and that's not legal intervention. And that kind of sounds like it's needed here. Better do that, buddy. Better do that. But she's not bothering the other kids, is what he says. And that's why it won't change revisitation-wise, because courts are annoying. But still, please, keep kids alive. Let's find out what people are saying about this. How about this? One more insult, one more demand that I do things for the kids that aren't mine, not go to the court for the balance you owe. That should shut her up, or land her back in court, whichever she chooses. Not the a-hole. That does bring up a small point that he made before in his retelling of the facts, statement of the facts. I'm back in law school now. Statement of the facts that she has also not paid before. Like, she's just not paid her share for a couple of times. And it seems like she also just kind of stopped paying her share. So I still don't, again, for the life of me, don't know why she still has visitation rights at this point. But why would you wait? Don't wait until she says something else at this point. Bring that up again. Yeah, it's a good choice to make, I would say. If you want to give her another chance, a final chance, an ultimatum for anything else, one more time you do this and I'm going to take it to the court, do it. And I get the feeling this lady would still do it anyway. Because she doesn't seem to have the best ethical / moral compass, and so this probably wouldn't stop her. Just throwing that out there. You really should tell her something like, I thought I was helping you out with your other kids by not pressing you for the child support you're legally supposed to be paying me, but don't. Good point. 10 out of 10 would like. Again, people like her only understand threats. That is a dangerous concept, but also probably true in the situation because she's insane. But clearly cares more about herself and the money she could be gaining, not just from him, but for her partner and herself, than the livelihood of the kids. So it could be like a more narcissistic type thing, could just be straight up neglect of her own choice. It doesn't matter, regardless of what it is, kids need to be taken care of, and she's not doing it. So take that to the court, please. Please take it to court. People like her also keep having 3 to 5 more kids and struggle. I'm always amazed by this. Like, is this baby trapping, or what's the main goal here? Even if I wanted kids, and I really don't, I would stop after 1. Twins are a surprise, but okay, you kind of wanted this, and if they're identical, you can teach them stuff to mess with others, but not more. Kids are expensive. Kids kick against glass doors and have their birthday money confiscated to pay for a new one. This is a totally unrelated incident, which so never happened to me when I was in school. Forgot my keys and was waiting in the rain. That's interesting. Okay, I'm glad. Glad I read that. That kind of went off the rails, but I appreciate that. Still, it would be crazy if she doesn't even need the money. She just wants it. I mean, clearly. Okay, she's claiming it's for the kids that aren't his, that want to go to school and need to pay for like their supplies and things, and he's paying for his and he's got supplies, whatever else. That's an understandable thing if that's what it's for, but clearly it's the good point that this person said before, that she has been paying for her child support areas there. So even if he gave her the money for the others, there's no guarantee that's going to be used for what it's supposed to be used for, because she's not even paying what she's supposed to, but she ain't paying what she owe for to steal from Riley. She ain't gonna pay what she owe. And she's just leaving that as it is because she doesn't care about these kids, clearly. So I wouldn't even bother trying to entertain the idea that she's using this for the kids, because clearly there's already some missing. Some money's missing. Where's it going? And it's still missing. And more months have passed and it's still missing. Where is it going? Someone needs to investigate. I don't know if you need to hire somebody for that, or the court needs to hire somebody for that. I would say the court needs to hire somebody for that. If you need to bring it to their attention on that co-parenting app, please do so. But this is not legal advice. Hashtag not sponsored. That's it. That's it for me. Like, yeah, like for school supplies, you could use food stamps and other. You can? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that, actually. I thought that would probably be something like a WIC situation, which I think they're related, but WIC isn't food stamps, right? That's like EBT food stamp stuff, or is WIC also a food stamp situation? I should know this, but I don't remember. Food stamps are ENT or EBT? Yeah, okay, gotcha. And WIC is different, right? So yeah, and I don't think WIC is just for infants, right? It's just for the mother taking care of children, at least I would think. I could be wrong, and I'm probably wrong on that one. It might just be for infants. But still, they have a kid. I mean, they probably still need it. Mother and child until age 5? Cool. Gotcha. Keeping that in mind. We don't know how old these kids are that need to go to school. He said school-age kids, that's all he said. But their current kid that they had together is already 8 right now, so he's already out of that time frame. But The others could use it. She's gotta try. But let's just say she's trying to bring herself up by her bootstraps and doesn't want to take that state welfare because Obama never did nothing for her. So she's gonna be a strong, independent woman who is not gonna be replaced and will fight for her rights to see her children because she is the mother and deserves it, which the court usually, sadly, tends to agree with. But regardless, can't remember the name of the cash program, but the cash program qualifies them for tons of resources. Maybe it's SNAP? I don't think so. No. Maybe it is, though. TANF. Yeah. TANF. Gotcha. Yeah. See, there's just so many options. We just listed 3 right there that she could be going for. And he's got a lawyer. Opie's got a lawyer. You can just ask the lawyer to relay that to her, because he doesn't have to talk to him. And if the lawyer can say it in a kind of like more professional way than he probably would, then might as well give it a shot. Maybe. It's not up to them to make sure she's on these things. They just gotta suggest it. And the court can take that into account as well if she doesn't do those things. Again, I don't know why for the life of me she still has these visitation rights. But I've talked long enough about this and I'm tired of talking about this lady. So I'm gonna move on. Again, I don't know why we keep ending on these dudes that just piss me off so much. I mean, it's too much. It's just too much to deal with. Sneaky Pete. I'm distracted. Anyway, Salty Potato Chip is great. I love that name. Oh, beautiful. Anyhow, back on to our topics. Verdict? Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole at all. Please, sir. And if anything, you are not being a-hole enough. Please mess up this woman's life. She's already doing it for her kids. Make sure that they can get a good place to be and stay. I wouldn't say take over her kids because James still exists. It's on him at this point. But if he's also throwing in the towel and ignoring their health, I don't know what it's supposed to do with the situation. But you're doing what you gotta do, and you're already doing what you're supposed to do and what you're required to do, and you're going above and beyond to try and not call CPS on her every day. Please don't take the high road forever here. She kind of needs that low road on her life. Please. That's just me. If you agree, let me know. If you don't agree, let me know. Okay. So the idea is now we have passed our usual Speeple therapy time. It's now to move on into a cozy game or two. We could always try like Stardew Valley. We could try Cozy Keep again, continue running the shop. We could do something simple like 9 Kings and just vibe out there with the things. We could do Cookard and just also vibe out with the things. There's lots of options. If you have any choices, let me know. I could also just go into the fishing game, Ultimate Fishing, and see if I can do that. Oh, Andrew, if you're in the chat, you still got the fishing game, right? Like, you can still fish. If you do got that game, you ever want to just hop on and do some ultimate fishing? You do? Do you want ultimate fish? Because I haven't done that yet, and I still would love to ultimate fish with somebody. Fishing's interesting. And it's like the most classic cozy game situation you got. Like, even if I was in Stardew Valley, I'd probably be just fishing for most of the day there. So if I just actually go to a fishing game, could work. Potentially, I've been silent streaming. Oh no, silent streaming sucks. I can't raid you when you're silent streaming. You gotta react to the raid. But no, okay. That's fine. Ooh. We got some oven foods. Surprise, wife. Alright. I don't know. If you guys want to see me do some nice fishing, then, sure, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just chilling at the moment, and I think I'll go try to finish that Cozy Keep demo as far as we can before I get the game eventually. Oh, but more importantly, let's check the, pre-roll timer. Oh, yeah. We are minus 18 seconds on that. Okay, so people are getting their pre-roll ads back on now. So let's consider our next choices here. I will say, let's run a 1 minute ad, and that'll probably save us at least like a 30-minute break for everybody else that wants to come in and join this people and whatnot for the pre-roll ads, so they don't have to watch any, and then they'll stick around for all that other stuff and enjoy themselves, maybe even join us and follow all the good stuff that you gotta do. Hopefully. So if you guys stick around and watch that nice 1 minute ad, that'll very much benefit us. Let's hop in there and see that real quick. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna hop over to the Cozy Keep demo and boot that up, sit there in the title screen so we can hop back into Cozy Keep and try to continue growing our shop together, the Armory of the Speeple, or Speejin. Are you ready? Are you ready? So I'm gonna start this ad in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I appreciate your support very much. Here we go.